Okay, welcome to bonding assignment number 8. Let's start off with some chemical bonding humor. Oh yeah, that is hilarious. Let that sink in. So funny. How about some Valentine's Day bonding humor? Doesn't that make you smile? Isn't that sweet? Okay, people. Bonding assignment number 8. Naming and formula writing for covalent compounds. The things that you'll be able to do at the end of this lesson are that you can write the chemical formula of a covalent substance when given the name of that covalent compound. And if you're given a formula, you can write the name. So if we give you a formula, you can write the name. If we give you the name, you can easily write the formula. How are we going to go about doing that? To go from formula to name, there is one simple rule. One rule. The prefix mono, which stands for number 1, when you have one of something, is not used for the first element. For example, you know what this compound is already. Carbon dioxide. So covalent naming is very similar to ionic naming. The first element is simply written the way that it always is. The second element is changed, the ending to IDE. And finally, in covalent compounds, we use a prefix when there is a number that is not any number for the second one, even the number 1. For example, in this one, this would be carbon oxide. How many oxides do we have? Remember, if it's not written, there's a 1 at the bottom of each one of these. So this is carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide. The prefix mono, again, equals 1. And I'm going to go over those prefixes with you in a minute just to give you a feel for what we're doing. Let's try this one. Let's do a different color. How about some blue? Diphosphorus. This is phosphorus, Phosphorus. May or may not be how you spell phosphorus. And the prefix di goes in front of it, meaning 2. And the second element is fluorine, Fluoride. We change it to fluoride. And then we put the prefix penta in front of it because that represents Penta, represents the number 5. So what are the prefixes that we're going to be using? Here you go. The first thing you got to write down on your papers is to fill in this table of prefixes. If you could resist doing that and let me review with you for a moment, I think you're going to realize, just hold off on filling that in for just a second. Mono means 1. Don't most of us already know that mono means 1? I think we do. Sorry. Mono means 1. Mono is 1. I'm trying to look for the ones that we don't already know. Di is 2, kind of like bicycle, dicycle. Di is 2. Most of us can recognize that one. Tri is 3. Many of us know that pentagram is 5. Hexa is 6. Octa, like an octagon, is 7. I'm sorry, 8. Octa, like an octagon, is 8. Even if we don't know nana, it kind of makes sense that nana would be 9. And many of us know that deca is 10 already. The two tricky ones, in my opinion, are tetra for 4 and hepta for 7. I think you really know most of these already. Anyway, go ahead and fill in the top of assignment number 6. You need to have these prefixes handy so that you can do your naming and formula writing. I'm going to keep marching along. You just pause the video when you're ready. You can join back in here. So now that you know the prefixes, let's practice going from formula to name. Number 1, again, we've already done. This is carbon and oxygen, so it changes to oxide. And now we need to put in our prefixes. The prefix 1 never is used. Mono is never used on the first element, but mono for the second one is. So this is monoxide. The most appropriate way to do this mono, O-X-I-D-E. When you have a double O or OA, they drop it and it just becomes monoxide. The number 2, how are we going to do number 2? Carbon, oxide. What are the prefixes? 1 for carbon, so we don't write it on the first one. Di for the second one. Carbon, dioxide. What about number 3? That's nitrogen and oxygen, so oxide. What are prefixes for nitrogen? It's 2, so dinitrogen. And for oxide, it's 3, so trioxide. Dinitrogen, trioxide. N2 is actually just nitrogen. When it's N2 or O2 or F2, that's just the element. What about number 5? Nitrogen and phosphide. So what's our prefix on the first one? Mono, so we don't write it. Prefix on the second one, monophosphate. Monophosphate. So nitrogen, monophosphate. If you need some more help with this, come see me. Otherwise, finish those on your paper, and when you're ready, you can resume the video on the formula writing part. So now we are on the formula writing part, and it's just the reverse of what we were doing before. You will take the word carbon, and what's the symbol for carbon? C. And you take the word fluoride, and what's the symbol for fluoride? F. And then you will write the subscripts. How many carbons do you have? What's your prefix here? There isn't anything, so it's mono, and remember, we don't write it if it's mono. Tetra is 4, so we've got CF4. That is our compound formula. Number 2, silicone is Si and oxide is O. How many of each do we have? We've got no prefix for silicon, meaning it's 1, and a di for oxygen, meaning it's a 2. Number 3, dinitrogen. So nitrogen is N and sulfide is S. And what's our subscripts? Di is 2, N2, S tri is 3. Number 4, how about this pink color? Number 4, phosphorus mononitride. And we've got no prefix in phosphorus, so we don't write a subscript. And we've got mono, which is 1, and we don't write 1. So PN. And the last one, hydrogen gas. That's really more of a chemistry thing. It's H2, and I won't be asking you questions like that when it's a single element on your test in 9th grade. So if you can continue on, I have answer keys for both parts A and B of that paper that you're working on. Come see me if you need help. Check your answer with the person beside you, or come see my answer key and make sure that you're able to do this. As always, have fun. I wish there was a faster way to stop.